members of the opposition, dear judges. In a world full of chaos, pressure, and hard truths, right? Sometimes the only thing that keeps us going is a little delusion. Delulu is the Sululu isn't just emotion, it's a mindset. It means choosing belief over doubt, dreams over limits, and hope over cowardice. Today, we embrace the idea that being a little delulu might just be the solution we all need. I will first start by replying to some of the points that the opposition has put forward. So first of all, they say that being optimistic and delusionally optimistic are two different things. But let me just tell you this. Once there was a person that had a dream, an unrealistic dream. People just told this person, no, you can't do it. Because let's be real, only 12% of the population can become some kind of popular artist or some kind of popular musician. But in the end, this person has done everything in her possible to achieve that dream. That is not being optimistic, that is being delusionally optimistic. And that means that you are going to realize what you were aiming for at the first place. Second of all, I just want to clarify something. Delusionally optimistic doesn't mean not knowing of the downside. It's choosing to focus on the right side. Let me just tell you that like 57% of people in this world that were originally driven by being delusionally optimistic, they have achieved all of their goals because they have done everything in their possible to achieve it. Let me just tell you that being delusionally optimistic can lead to possible and potential change. Second of all, I just want to start by saying that they said something about how they gave the example of, they responded to the example of Elon Musk and Taylor Swift, and they said that that was optimistic, and that the fact that they didn't give up even after many failures, that they learned from their failures. What exactly is the difference with being delusionally optimistic? Because as far as I know, those people are really famous, and you cannot become famous in the span of one day, okay? Life is chaotic, it's overwhelming, and it's unpredictable. Sometimes people, they just need to believe in something unlikely just to make it through. I'll get that dream job, they'll text back, it's all going to work out. And even if it's not objectively true, it can help someone stay afloat emotionally. And that's a survival strategy, not foolishness. Second of all, they talked about how you should be honest, and that the fact that you know the downsides of the decision that you make is just going to help you become better. Let me just tell you, that you've mentioned is an argument about honesty, okay? What you call honesty might be your perspective, not an objective fact. You might honestly think someone's project is bad, but that's just taste. You honestly could limit someone else's potential if it's rooted in your limitations. Claiming I'm honest often marks personal bias as universal truth, okay? Honestly, without compassion is cruelty. Telling people you gained weight might be honest, but it's not helpful, okay? Truth delivered without empathy isn't brave, it's brutal. Then they kept on talking about how there were people in this world that were driven by being delusionally optimistic, and that in the end, they failed because they didn't see the downrights of their decisions, and that was basically their whole argument during this whole speech. Let me just reply by saying this, okay? When you have a conviction and you do everything in your possible to achieve it, you do so. Again, I say it, it's a mindset. You are not adopting a decision. You're adopting a positive mindset that's going to focus on the good things in your life rather. Okay, accept it.
So, do you believe that when you are gambling, it's about mindset?
Okay, let me just tell you this. They gave the example about gambling, but if you're following their logic, doesn't that mean being optimistic? Because when you talked about being optimistic and you just came on and you said that those people, they learned from their failures and they just kept on doing the same thing, doesn't that apply to your example too? Because as far as I know, when you're going into a casino and you're spending money and money over and over again, you're being optimistic because you tell yourself, oh, in the end, maybe I'm going to win, right? Yeah, that's what you're saying, right? Then I'm just gonna continue about my argument about the fact that they said that delusionally optimistic means that you should just give up, okay? Most of the revolutionary inventions that we are seeing today were driven by delusions, okay? Did you think that 100 years ago they were like, oh, we're gonna put our foot into the moon? Do you think they would have thought that? They were saying, oh my God, you're delusional. No one, it's never gonna happen. But it did happen, and we saw it with our own eyes. So the fact that you're telling that delusion doesn't drive anything is just being downright ridiculous, okay? Now I'll just start by addressing our arguments. So first of all, being delusionally optimistic is a creativity booster, okay? Thinking outside of the box or outside reality can sometimes spark creativity and ambition. possible until the Wright brothers invented the airplane, okay? What's delusional today is often revolutionary tomorrow. Believing in something unrealistic can push people beyond conventional limits, the limits that you put in your mind. You can think outside of your box. You can go beyond that. You can go above those limits, okay? That's not madness. That's just vision. That's how you view your life. If you decide to view your life in a negative way, then that's your choice. That is the mindset you choose to adapt, and that is the mindset that the opposition has chosen to adapt today. Next, I just want to say that the rise of manifestation culture proved that a degree of delulu worked. Acting as if you're already successful makes you behave confidently. Okay, that confidence opens doors, obviously, which creates actual results. Belief becomes behavior. Behavior changes outcomes. That is just the truth. That is just how life works. If I was not confident in my speech today, I would just be stuttering today. I would not be even in front of you because I make the decisions and I want to behave confidently in a way because I chose to adapt that delulu mindset. Next, I just want to say that even like the third argument is about like social interaction, okay? Even if you know, for example, your idol won't marry you or that your ship is in canon, that delulu brings people together, right? It sparks love for hope, shared culture. Not every belief needs to be rooted into reality to bring values, okay? You might just want to be silly and you might just want to believe in things. Is that so hard to understand? Like when you just want to talk to your friends and you just want to be delusional, you want to be like, maybe that is what we need to do. Maybe delusional is what is going to give us what we want to have, right? Because in the end, it's just about the limits that you put in your mind. It's either you're going to go beyond those limits or you're going to be refrained by those limits. Okay? In conclusion, what I just want to say is the opposite has come on today, and they talked about how delusionally optimistic is just going to bring you downfall. It's just going to cause your downfall. But I just want to start by saying that delusionally optimistic is what drives the change in you. It's what drives the change in others too, because it's gonna drive this community to go further and to evolve, and it's even gonna spark the social community and like the interaction between people. And we've proven times and again that everything starts with a delusion, and that everything starts with being completely optimistic and having a good and not limited mindset. Thank you.